Hello and a very warm welcome to another episode of Off the Leash. We're up to episode number 35, brought to you by the Racing Post in association with Premier Greyhound Racing. And we keep saying it, Tony Bullen joins us. The top class action keeps on coming and loads of big finals this week. It's crunch time, Tony.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant racing. I mean, the cream's risen to the top in a majority of the events as well. So plenty to look forward to, Dave.
Yeah, it could be. This week could be a bit of a fab fest, and we'll get onto that as well. There's quite a few skinny ones in these big finals. And I don't know about you, Tony, but I think that most of them are going to be winning.
Yeah, I think they're hard to oppose. I mean, there doesn't appear to be any major obstacles in the way. Some of them have fared well in the draw, but that's what makes this sport so great. Nothing's ever set in stone.
No, there's no such thing as a certainty in dog racing. Let us know your thoughts. Like, comment and subscribe. Thanks for all the feedback on Facebook as well. Been very popular on there. We started putting every show on Facebook every week. I'll tell you what, someone who's not searching the skinny ones is Tony Hawes, who got in touch with us. He's sitting on a nice, big each-way Trixie. I mentioned him on last week's show. Swift Silly, unfortunately, crashed out at 40-1, but he's got Noir's News at 33-1 and Droopy's Man of War at 33-1 as well. Each way double running there. So best of luck to Tony. That'll come to a right few quid. Right, what have we got coming up? So Friday night, all live on the Premier Greyhound Racing Service. Premier Greyhound Racing Champion Stakes final at Romford. Saturday, we've got the Premier Greyhound Racing Kent Derby final. Both of those two events are worth £20,000. On the digital-only fixture list, so you can watch it on your bookmaker streams, we've got the Premier Greyhound Racing Oaks semi-finals. Only 12 remain there. And then on Sunday, it is never ending. There's £11,500 up for grabs in the Bresbet Steel City Cup. And of course, we've got Wiki Ned chasing that £10,000 Bresbet bonus. That's what we've got coming up on the show. We'll look back and look ahead to all the finals and semi-finals. And we'll start on Sunday and we'll work our way back through the week. Now, we're going to go to Sheffield here, Tony, and there's only one place to start. Semi-final number one, Lynx Maverick, a greyhound who's been written off by a number of people. He was back to winning ways in the first round, and again, he exploded from the boxes. Now, this was quite a tricky draw for him. He was stranded out in trap 5, 28.95. Bombay the Joker in trap 3, doing the business in here. Very, very nice performance from Lynx Maverick.
Yeah, he's found his trapping boots once again, and he's getting it right at the start. And we've seen he's been there and worn the T-shirt as Lynx Maverick. He's at his very best when off the front. Sheffield's the ideal venue to defend the lead, and that's exactly what Lynx Maverick did. All credit to this Bombay the Joker dog, though. I mean, I was amazed he came in as reserve. It was only last minute that he came into the competition for the form that he's got, but Connections will be delighted. He's improving with each look, but Lynx Maverick, he was top gun here.
Yeah, he's not getting any younger, is he? But he's still got that explosiveness from the boxes, and he could even do it from trap 5, and he needed to on that occasion.
Yeah, he did. I mean, and he's probably going to have to need it and some in this particular final, Dave, because it is a cracking affair with early birds.
Right, we'll move on to semi-final number 2, and I thought we was going to be racing here. We've won at a nice big price. Farney's Willie, who was as big as, I think, 9-10-1 on the day. He managed to finish second. We was hoping he was going to come through to score, but Romeo Cypher battled hard to get to the front, showed loads of early speed. Another one for Tom Hilbron. Another one in great form, 29.00. 4 and 5, the 2 qualifiers from semi-final number 2. And it got a little bit messy at the third turn.
Yeah, lovely, profitable race this, Dave. Said just back Farney's Willie at big price and do the field to beat you and get a nice dividend. And yeah, I thought he ran well, the Farney's Willie dog. He brought that stamina into play. But again, Romeo Cypher, he did what he needed to do at the boxes, showed up well in the produce stakes, but he's been showing a nice bit of early at Sheffield. And I like the way he battled well to land this semi-final. All right, he didn't break the 29-second barrier, but times sometimes are irrelevant at this venue. You can defend the lead when it's on the turn. Yeah,
of course, the short straights and the long sweeping bends, you get to the front, get onto the rail, and you can prove very, very hard to catch, as we're going to see in the third semi-final. This is some dog that's able to get to the front and get onto the rail. Wiki Ned, the Gimcrack winner, Northern Flat winner. We spoke loads last week about, he didn't look at his best when he won the Northern Flat up at Newcastle. He certainly looks at his best here at Newcastle. Once again, quickest on the clock, 28.65. Union Rebel finishing second, 4 and 5, the two qualifiers here. But once again, it was all about one dog, Tony.
Yeah, I was amazed at the early prices. You asked me what price you thought Wicked Ned would be, and I said around the 4 to 7 to 1 mark, and that 10 to 11, 4 to 5 that they done, that quickly went, and so did Wicked Ned. He's showing the consistency at the boxes. He won the Northern Flat, I thought, on sufferance at Newcastle, but he's had a layoff. He's looking to win an extra £10,000 having won the Gym Crack. So I think Connections would be delighted that he's drawn on the rails. All credit to Union Rebel, though. He give Wicked Ned a real fright. But what I like with Wicked Ned, the way he felt the heat and kicked again, he found more, Dave.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Union Rebel dog. We obviously, flagged him up during the produce, and he's got blistering early pace. Kevin Hutton knows what it takes to win a Steel City Cup as well. He's been up there in recent years and landed it. And this final, which we'll have a look at now, the 5:19 on Sunday afternoon at Sheffield, the Bresbet Steel City Cup final. This is the draw. These are the current prices. Wicked Ned 4 to 6, Bombay the Joker 14, Romeo Cypher 16, Lynx Maverick 11 to 4, Union Rebel 8, and Farney's Willie at 25 to 1. Now, I don't mind Wicked Ned out the middle. I think he breaks quite well. I'm sure if you asked Connections, where do you want him? I reckon they would have picked trap 3 and just hope he come away racing again. He's got one. He's proved that he can win out of one, but he's going to need to do it right here again, isn't he? Because this is a race full of early pace.
Yeah, I'd be pleased if I was owning Wicked Ned, because I want to be drawn inside of Romeo Cypher, Lynx Maverick. I want to be drawn inside them. I know you're saying he could smash the bars up the centre, but I think here, a bit like the Newcastle Northern Flat, he missed a break. He can pace up at the right time and barge his way round. He's a 37-kilo dog, so if he hits the crown of the bend at the right time, he's taking them with him. And I think he can just barge his way to the front. You see what he's got left in reserve when he is challenged. So I do fancy that this inside draw will give him a massive edge.
And I'll make a prediction here. He's the outsider of the field, Farney's Willie. But I'll make a prediction that I'm pretty confident this dog's not going to be finishing last.
No, I'll totally agree. But we'll touch on that later.
Oh, all right. Okay. Well, so is it going to be 2 votes for Wicked Ned?
Yeah, I think it's a race that's going to be won and lost at the boxes. But with Wicked Ned being drawn rails, he could miss it, pace up and barge his way round.
Put the shoulder in. Yeah, of course, they've all got to get round Wicked Ned. That is the Bresbet Steel City Cup final on Sunday afternoon at Sheffield, live on the Premier Greyhound Racing Service. Right, we'll now move on to Saturday night and the Bitches Classic. We're up to the semi-final stage in this year's Oaks, and I think it was 48 to start with. 48 become 24, which has now become 12. And we're going to pick it up at the semi-final, quarter-final stage last week. We'll pick it up for this week's semis. First quarter-final, Druid Say Go, Trap 4, beating Devilgate Susie in Trap 3, Droopy's Eunice in Trap 2. This was the fastest heat winner again. She set the standard in the opening round. She set the standard at the quarter-final stage. 28-10, Druid Say Go, and she just keeps living up to her name, Say Go, and she does exactly that at the boxes.
Yeah, I'm so glad they stepped her up to a true 4 bends, Dave. I mean, she was formidable at Romford, don't get me wrong, but she sort of fluffed her lines when favourite in the Golden Sprint. But since stepping up to a true 4 bend, she's got the pace to get to the front. She runs as good a second bend as any dog or bitch in the country. She takes lengths out of them down that back straight. She's got a lovely bit of second to third pace, and she's absolutely phenomenal. She's improved on the clock with each sighting. Was sensational at Yarmouth. I know she's drawn out in Trap 5, but the way she's running, it's going to take a monumental effort from all to lower her colours at the moment.
Well, yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that. I mean, fair play to Patrick Jansen. He's always been adamant that this bitch would get a 480. We saw her whizzing round Romford, and he said to me, I think I spoke to him after she won the first round at Yarmouth, and he said, I've always fancied her over a stiffer 4 bends, and we kept her to Romford because there wasn't really much doing for her. There was a lot of competitions in against strong dogs over stiff 4 bends. So we thought we'll go for the Golden Sprint and then step her up. And he said, I think she's probably just lost just half a yard of her initial early pace, which is what you need around Romford. And now these 480, the 462 at Yarmouth, which gives you just a slightly longer run to the bend. and she's showing her early into the bend, which is enabling her to lead. And as you say, she takes off second bend down the back straight. That's where she puts most of her races to bed. Brilliant, brilliant bitch, and she's in red hot form. She will have to beat Queen Joni, though, as well, who's in there pitching, and she was second fastest. We go to quarterfinal number 4. Queen Joni was in trap 3. Iceman's Girl thought run a blinder in trap 2, and Coppice Ella in trap 6, quite a way back, staying on for third. 28-24, the winning time here. Now, she fluffed her lines at the start in the opening round, showed her class and heart, Queen Joni, to come through. She certainly showed her class here out the boxes.
Yeah, what's a CV she's got, Queen Joni? I mean, she's absolutely phenomenal bitch, one of the fastest bitches in training. Has been brought back perfect timing by Liz Rad McNair and the KSS Syndicate. She's simmering nicely along. She broke the 28-second barrier. I thought Iceland's Girl ran an absolute stormer because she kept Queen Joni honest and was closing on the home straight. Chased home Avengate Venus in the Empress Stakes final, did Iceland's Girl. Could be a replica of what we saw last weekend in this particular semi, Dave.
Yeah, she's definitely, to me, looks like she's standing a bit stronger now, the Iceman's Girl bitch.
Yeah, she is. And the beauty is, she's learned a lot more at the boxes as well. She's not necessarily completely missing it. She's holding her pitch against these early speedsters. And the fact that she doesn't give up the chase, that's testament to her. She's building up a nice sequence of form figures.
Right, as I mentioned, a talented dozen remain, and we'll have a look at the semi-finals now. 7:36, the first of the Premier Greyhound Racing Oaks semis on Saturday night at Perry Bar, live on the Premier Greyhound Racing digital fixture list, that one. So you can watch it on bookmakers' feeds. Won't be on the main PGR stream, but you have to pick it up on all the bookmakers' streams. You'll be able to watch it there. Ballyhealy Star on the inside, 10-1. Droopy's Unis 13-2. Distant Cara 11-2, Katunda Layla 20s, Druid Sago 2-5, Coppice Ella, the only seeded dog in here, or bitch in here, at 10-1. She's a wide. Shout out to Labrooks and Corals, obviously part of the PGR sponsorship here. First out the boxes with prices for these Oaks semi-finals. 2-5. Doesn't take much finding. Does take some opposing, though, Tony. I can't be against Druid Sago. What say you?
Yeah, as much as she's running at the top of her game, 2-5 wouldn't be a play because this Distant Cara of Matt Dartnell's has been showing good early speed. So Druid Sago is going to have to look a little bit lively around the opening turns. But the clock suggests that if negotiating them opening turns unscathed, that middle pace will kick in. But I am a little bit more concerned this weekend with Distant Cara up the centre. They could meet at the wrong point, but barring any serious incidents, Druid Sago can turn on the afterburners down the far side.
Now, as a punter, the natural kind of approach when you see such a skinny one is maybe an each-way play, a full-cast play. How would you attack this? Coppice Ella, keep qualifying? I mean, I think she's probably going to get detached a little bit early doors here, but she does stay strongly. That
would be my automatic take, because if you're thinking that Druid Sago is going to win the race, then I would fear for Distant Cara because she looks like a bitch that shows her best form off the front. Droopy's Unis has just been finding 1-2 good of late. This Ballyhealy Star's popped up at big prices in recent weeks, but I would probably take Coppice Ella. If she does the demolition job and posts a past time, Druid Sago, it might be a scrap for the places, and Coppice Ella will mind her own business out wide, post her 28, 20, 30 time, and that might be enough to qualify.
Yeah, I'd love to see her to get to the final. Tony Brealey, lovely man, ploughs a fortune into the sport, and she was desperately unlucky. I know Tony was really, really disappointed just how unlucky she was. I think it was in the semi-finals of the Produce. You know, she just needs a clear run early doors round over that 4.76 at Swindon, and she was banged there. I think she was as fast as anything in that event. 480 here at Perry Bar. She's going to need to just latch onto the leaders a little bit better than she did last week. But yeah, she'd be the one for me as well to at least qualify. You'd fancy her qualifying there, but Druid Sago continues to shine, as does Queen Joni, an absolute superstar, and she's going to be the favourite for the 8-11 on Saturday night, which is the second semi-final. Iceman's Girl goes in trap 1 at 11-4. Chamberlain Girl at 16s. Queen Joni 1-2. Devilgate Susie 25s. Front Alice 14. Queen Dusty 7-1. Now, of the two, I know Druid Sago is the shorter at 2 to 5, but I think this is the better bet. If you like getting involved in skinny ones at short prices, she just looks like she's coming to hand nicely now, Queen Joni. And she was very good last week. I think she'll be even better this week, Tony.
Yeah, I agree. I think she beats them to the punch, Davies. She's such a talent. It's like she seems to know what she has to do. It's like she feels that I've got a bit of pace in the inside, so I'll have to show that extra half a yard. And she's such a talent. I mean, all credit to Iceman's Girl. She really did keep Queen Joni honest. I mean, any other race, Queen Joni probably goes and wins 4 or 5 yards. And you think, wow, what a performance. But when these hot pots are made to work hard, sometimes I think instead of giving credit to the runner-up, you sort of try and crab the winner. I don't think you could crab any of the front two. It was a good race with the time was there as well.
What's your play? Is it just Queen Joni to win? Have you got a forecasting? I mean, Queen Dusty.
3-1-6, I'd go. I think 6 Queen Dusty will mind their own business. I think 3-1 will sort of, it could be a carbon copy of what we saw last weekend. But I think Queen Dusty, again, can mind her own business out wide.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back and look through her form, I think near enough every competition she's been in, she's got to the final. Incredible. She obviously won the Puppy Oaks as well. Queen Joni, going to be very, very hard to beat there, though. 1 to 2 at the moment, if you take your fancy. Right, also on Saturday night, alongside the Oaks, is the Premier Ground Racing Kent Derby, also carrying a £20,000 first prize. And we'll dive straight into the semi-finals from last weekend. Droopy's Man of War in Trap 1 doing the business here, 29.02. Atomic Crimes, 1 for the locals, 4 to 1. Now, all eyes were on the outside duo here, Cinderella Tell and Newin Benny. But I thought Droopy's Man of War, when I've watched this back a couple of times, Tony, I thought he showed really, really good, what I'd call late, early pace. He really flew into the turn and used his inside draw.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, he appeared to have a half-decent makeup on the inside, but once he muscled his way to the front, a little bit of jostling in behind, all of a sudden he was out in total isolation. Obviously, this is as far as he wants to go, and all credit to the local. I mean, Tony Collette must be absolutely cock-a-hoop to get Atomic Crimes to this prestigious final. Stayed on through beaten rivals. But yeah, he showed a nice bit of early pace, did Droopy's Man of War, and got Trap 1 again, so could make things interesting in the actual decider.
Yeah, right. We're now going to have a look at one of the other semi-finals as well. King Memphis here, absolutely brilliant. 28.57, lowering his very own track record here. 28.57. Atomic Crimes, I mentioned, was the other qualifier in the first semi-final. But this was all about King Memphis, Tony, and he needed to look lively at the boxes here, but he did so in really, really good fashion in the blue jacket. And what a performance this was.
Yeah, well, we said he'll better his own track record, and we know I predicted the time as well, Dave. I mean, he's a joy to watch him fall flight, this dog. I mean, didn't go his way in the Derby. He came away to one of his worst exits in the Derby final at Toaster, but he's been brought back nicely. Every time he's gone through the boxes, he's getting powerful, he's getting stronger, the muscles are getting nice and loose, and it wouldn't surprise me if he betters the clock again, if he can clear Droopy's Man of War.
Yeah, and it was Droopy's Display, your other qualifier there, in Trap 3. Good 4 3/4 lengths in arrears at the winning line. Right, let's have a look at the final then. El Tornillo won the other semi. It's quite a messy race, that one. But the 9.11 on Saturday, El Tornillo is going to be the dog. The market suggests anyway, Tony, to serve it up to King Memphis. Droopy's Man of War in 1 at 16s. King Memphis 4 to 6. Havana Top Note 15 to 2. Droopy's Display 25, El Tornillo 3 to 1, Atomic Crimes 50, Bullseye 50 to 1 for the locals, 4 to 6, King Memphis. Is this El Tornillo almost holding up the price of King Memphis because he's absolutely flying?
I think Droopy's Man of War being in 1's the reason as well. I mean, if you'd have put Memphis in 1, Man of War in 2, you're probably looking at 2 on, 4 to 9 for Memphis, but that's the reason I think that you're getting a little bit more juice than you would have necessarily got. But I think if he clears 1, he wins. But this El Tornillo dog is an absolute brute of a dog when he gets on the bunny. He shouldn't have anything to fear from Droopy's Display and Atomic Crime. So he's going to enjoy his run. He's going to have a nice run around the first 2 bends. And if he can front off and Memphis gets held up by Droopy's Man of War, I think the scales will tip in El Torneo's favour. But I just think King Memphis, he'll get it right on the night and show his class, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, not to repeat what was said on last week's show, but I just kind of keep going back to the conversation I did have with Rab McNair, and that was after the first round of the Kent Derby, where he had to battle really hard. You know, he dug deep to score. He beat Cinderella Tell, I think it's a decent dog. But Rab saying that, you know, we wound all of our Derby dogs right down out into the field, left them alone, gave them a well-needed rest over the summer. And Rab's own words were, we probably wound them down a little bit too much. And we saw Queen Joni, she was sprinting at Hove. King Memphis has been trialling, running in trial stakes, you know, blowing away the cobwebs. And after the first round of this competition, you know, 80% was the number that was given. He broke the track record last week. And dare I say, I think there's maybe more to come from King Memphis as well.
Yeah, I think the clock at Central Park will be better than the 28.57. I think like it's still bedding in with the new boxes and that. I like Central Park. I think it's one of the best four-bend venues in the country for me.
Yeah, very fair and a true test as well. 491 metres there. Right, Friday night is the first of the finals this week. The £20,000 Premier Greyhound Racing Champion Stakes, 575 metres. Remember, a blend of speed and stamina required here. Live on Premier Greyhound Racing. Let's have a look back then. Semi-finals last week before we dive into the 20 grand final on Friday. Noir's News for Seamus Cahill in trap 6, 35-30. This dog had the draw of all draws out wide in trap 6 here, Tony. Golden Palace was the other qualifier. 6 beat 4. Very straightforward from the stripes, though.
Yeah, he's a nice dog. I mean, he's holding his form really well over 4 and 6 bends. Dave flies his trade in top bracket company at Hove over the 4 bends, and he's taken a shine to the easy 6 bends at Romford. He did have a good make-up, but he still had to put the pace to the race, and that's exactly what he did. Nice 13.57 sectional, put him in pole position. Golden Palace lost nothing in defeat. He's had to find another one too good as the Golden Palace, but he kept up a strong enough gallop. I think he's limited on the clock, Noir's News. I mean, he's done everything right here, 35-30. He might have to eke a little bit more out or hope for a little bit of inside crowding if he's going to win the actual event. But it wouldn't be the first time we've seen a dog get the run of the race off the front and the others get held up. But yeah, he's a model of consistency for Connections.
Yeah, what I've noticed is that he's definitely taken to the traps at Romford and the 5.75 because he's just hit it every single time. And I think on Friday night, he'll be well drawn again out wide in trap 6. And what you'll get from him is a fast start and something similar to what we saw in this semi-final. So it could go well at a big price, but he's going to have to go some to beat the big 2 in the market. And they met in the second semi-final. New Destiny in trap 3 beat Iams of Sydney in trap 2. 35-18, the winning time here. Forget the clock. Just sit back and enjoy what was an incredible tussle. It was a classic case of catch me if you can. But my word, she's classy, this bitch. And catch him she did.
Yeah, it was always going to be race on once because there could have been a lot of inside crowding. But Iams of Sydney did what he needed to do. Got to the front, but this is the beauty of why New Destiny was such a warm order. Coronation Cup star where she broke the track record. If any dog can give as Iams of Sydney a start and a beating, it's New Destiny when she gets a run. And that's exactly what happened. She got the daylight and she laid it down in the latter stages. What a thrilling, I mean, even if you've not had a bet, this is what makes the sport exciting when you've got 2 dogs going hammer and tongs in the latter stages and she just got there right where it mattered, Dave.
Yeah, really, really impressive. 35-18, the winning time there. She starts and stays. Out of trap 3 there, beating Iams of Sydney. Third semi-final, Gary the Arb, 35-37 from trap 3. Now it's my turn in trap 4. There's lots of pace in this race, Tony, particularly down the middle, and 3 and 4 is how they came home. Yeah,
he's got a nice bit of middle, this Gary the Arb, but that's the only worry for him. I know he's stepped up to 6 bends and you think sometimes they should be turning more prominent when these good 4 bend dogs step up. But Gary the Arb's got that style of running. He's never been a natural lid pinger, but he looks after himself. And when he gets a bit of racing room, he's got all the pace in the world, the dog. I mean, he was impressive at Toaster. He won a competition on Derby final night there. He's brought a little bit more consistency to his game as he's got older. And I mean, Belinda Green is no stranger to winning Cat 1. She's done well with her previous raiders in the Romford events. And Gary Yarb, he's going to have to ride his luck early because he's going to have to go toe-to-toe with the Irons of Sydney's and New Destinies to utilise that middle pace that he possesses.
Yeah, and it's going to make for a fascinating final. We've just got the one-seeded dog out wide. Let's bring you the trap draw then. The 9-11 at Romford on Friday night. The £20,000 Premier Greyhound Racing Champion Stakes. New Destiny gets trap 1. Even money. Irons of Sydney 3s. Now it's My Turn 20-1. Gary the Arb 4s. Golden Palace 16s. Noir News at 10-1. Now, last week, we gave you Golden Palace and Gary the Arb at 25s, 33s. Price-wise in the Racing Post, they gave you Noir's News at 80, Gary the Arb at 50, I think he was, and Golden Palace at 40. Sitting pretty, Tony, but I'm still not confident that we're going to get any near the winner because I think she's going to be very hard to beat at the inside.
Yeah, the worst thing I think she can do is do a 1340 sectional. I'd rather her just sort of come away like she did last week and get into a rhythm, because that's what New Destiny is all about. If you've ever watched her over 4 bends, she's pinged the lids and she has a little bit of a flat spot, and then she sort of just sustains a strong gallop. So I would rather her sort of not get a smash break, which probably sounds ridiculous, but I'd rather her just come away naturally and get into a rhythm, because you know she doesn't need to be off the front. If she's not in front off the second bend, it's not game over for her. And I just think she can loiter with intent on the inside throughout, loom large at the 5th bend and bring that stamina into play.
Yeah, listen, I don't really want to oppose her because she's a class act. She's fastest on the clock. She's the track record holder as well. And she's got the inside line. But there's just 1 or 2 things that nag me. It's always a negative when I see any runner switching from a middle draw to the inside. Always just there's slight concern that they can half miss it. So I always think, particularly at Romford and these up and over boxes, dogs out the middle just seem to come away that little bit better. Romford, a track renowned for setting the track alight on their big nights for whatever reason. I don't know whether they like track records going on big nights in big finals. And I just wondered if she half missed it and Irons of Sydney came away racing, he'd probably put a massive time on the board. And if she doesn't go around in second, which she might not do, you know, there's quite a lot of speed in now. It's My Turn and Golden Palace would go to the Benwell. You know, coming from, you know, 3rd, 4th, dare I say it, 5th, I don't think she'd get Irons of Sydney. And I think just that slight concern is why she's evens and not 1 to 2 like some of the other jollies.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, as I say, the Irons of Sydney dog's no back number. And if he wins the sprint leg, then it really is game on, because does she turn 2nd or 3rd? As you say, if she's 4th dog, that's going to be a different ball game completely, fetching in Irons of Sydney.
But, and it's a big but, the man at the end of the league knows the time of day, 14 times champion trainer. And as I told you, I think 2 weeks ago or last week, when you watch Mark Wallace dogs in competitions, they never, ever, ever run their best time in a competition in the first round. They bring the heat in the final. So I think we're probably going to see a good version of New Destiny. If she comes away, she's going to be very hard to beat. And I'm pretty sure that's 2 votes for the Jolly, is it, in the Champions Stakes final, Tony?
Yeah, I'm going to be with her. I was with her from the get-go. She weren't a fantastic price, but she was always going to take the world of beating in a clean run race.
Well, there you go. Loads of each-way bullets, but we think it's going to be a fab fest this week. All these big finals, and the favourite might end up winning all of them. Let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree. If you are sitting on anything at big prices, let us know as well. Right, it is that time. Best bets of the week. There's big racing all over the shop. Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Category 1 finals everywhere. Best bet of the week. Tony, where are we going?
Right. I mean, obviously, I've gone for the obvious in a lot of these races. So we had a forecast last week. We put the King Memphis dog up, didn't we, to win and the Droopy's Display to be second. So I'm going to go for a forecast in the Steel City Cup. I'm going to take Wicked Ned to win the race. Now, if he wins the race, they can't all lead. So normally you've got a few dogs that will probably be down in tools. One dog that won't be down in tools late in the day is Farney's Willie. And I think it'll pay over 20 to 1 if Wicked Ned beats Farney's Willie. That's my bet of the weekend.
Yeah, I like that. I think Farney's Willie's about 25 to 1 chance to win the race. So he's going to be a big price. He's probably going to be the outsider of the field. So Fav to beat the rag in the Steel City Cup then for Tony Bullen. I'm going to go for a bit of a sporting one as well. I'm going to go to the last race at Central Park on Saturday night. Remember the Premier Greyhound Racing Kent Derby on the card there. Farney's Joe is a dog that I put up at a huge price each way to win the Kent Derby. Knocked out in the first round, caught the eye, flashing home. Now, he's a quirky sort. He got marked awkward at Yarmouth. He's now with Barry O'Sullivan, and his future probably lie with the obstacles in time. But he has got an engine. And I look at the race, I think that the Tintreach Truno dog's going to be favourite, likely to lead, going to be very, very short, going to take chunks out the market. I think you could do a lot worse than backing Farney's Joe each way in forecast. So he's going to be my play. 9.46, trap 2, each way play, Farney's Joe at Central Park. One of a handful of monster cards. Romford on Friday night, Perry Bar and Central Park on Saturday night, Sheffield on Sunday, top class action live on the Premier Greyhound Racing Service over the next few days. Sit back, strap yourselves in and enjoy it. Tony, it's been a pleasure as ever, once again. How do we go about just plotting up in front of the telly, in front of the computer and just sitting back, enjoying this top class action over the next 4 or 5 days?
And that's what it is. We just hopefully we just sit back and enjoy it. Best of luck to all connections involved, whether you're 50 to 1 to win the final. Just hope there's clean run races and may the best dog or bitch win.
Absolutely. Right. Do, of course, remember to enjoy the racing over the next few days. Gamble responsibly, and we'll see you next time.